In May 1911, the U.S. Supreme Court shattered the Standard Oil monopoly. After years of legal warfare, the court ordered the Titan dismantled. But the ruling had a paradoxical effect. Instead of ruining John D. Rockefeller, the dissolution of his company multiplied his wealth, minting him as the world's first confirmed billionaire. This raises a difficult question for anyone interested in how power works. How does a corporate empire survive and even find a way to thrive after its own legal execution? Rockefeller looked past the oil itself and engineered a replicable four-step system designed to insulate extreme wealth from government regulation and public destruction. This exact four-step system remains the active, hidden playbook used by today's mega-billionaires to accumulate and preserve their power. The early Pennsylvania oil rush was defined by chaos. It was a landscape of thousands of wildcatters gambling on unpredictable gushers. Rockefeller, however, operated with a hyper-calculating methodology that stood in stark contrast to the madness around him. He recognized that the real money wasn't in the risky business of drilling, but in the industry's choke points. He targeted refining and transportation, knowing that every drop of oil would eventually have to pass through his hands. He formed a secret alliance with railroads called the South Improvement Company. Shipping became impossibly expensive for competitors, trapping them. Leveraging this pressure, Rockefeller bought out 22 of 26 rivals during the Cleveland Massacre, often paying pennies on the dollar. By 1879, he controlled 90% of the industry. But he faced a new threat: state laws that prohibited companies from owning property or operating across state borders. His lawyers invented a loophole known as the trust. This structure allowed Rockefeller to consolidate 40 different companies under the opaque control of just 9 trustees, hiding the true scale of his dominance from public view. By combining physical supply chain choke points with these legal shell games, he created an invisible monopoly that regulators could neither map nor prosecute. This secrecy eventually failed. Relentless investigative journalists like Ida Tarbell exposed his ruthless tactics, sparking a massive wave of public outrage against the Standard Oil machine. That anger turned into revolt following the Ludlow Massacre. The sight of a destroyed tent colony and the deaths of women and children stained the Rockefeller name with a legacy of violence. To protect the family fortune, Rockefeller Sr. and Jr. pioneered the field of corporate public relations. They pivoted towards strategic, large-scale philanthropy to buy a social halo. They funneled millions into massive public institutions like the University of Chicago. These grand buildings served as a calculated shield, using the public good to distract from the methods used to acquire the wealth. But the empire faced one final threat: the federal estate tax and the natural decay of wealth that occurs across multiple generations. In 1934, they created irrevocable generation-skipping trusts. These financial fortresses allowed the principal wealth to grow tax-free while distributing steady yields to the family's descendants. These philanthropic foundations and impenetrable trusts didn't give the power away. They locked the wealth out of reach of both the public and the tax collector, securing institutional immortality. The 1911 breakup didn't kill the monopoly, it forced it to evolve. Standard Oil simply became the massive, distinct corporate titans that dominate the energy sector today, from Exxon to Chevron. This protected wealth allowed later generations to quietly expand their influence into global banking and international policy. David Rockefeller utilized this foundation to manage Chase Manhattan Bank and form elite global networks like the Trilateral Commission, proving the family's reach extended far beyond oil. We see this same blueprint in the present day. When modern tech monopolies buy up entire supply chains, utilize offshore shell companies, or launch mega foundations to soften their image, they are following the path Rockefeller built. Breaking up a company is only a temporary fix. John D. Rockefeller proved that if power is successfully embedded into a nation's legal and financial DNA, the empire becomes unkillable.